Hello and welcome to episode 1 of my DayZ modding tutorial. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you how to extract a PAA file from the DayZ game, modifying it to create your own texture and putting it back in the game. So in the last episode, episode 0, I already showed you what software to install as well as setting up your project folder, so I'm going to just jump right into it. So we're going to go ahead and launch our DayZ tools, open up PBO project, boom. This is the stuff we're always going to need when you start working on your DayZ. You're going to want to run this. Okay. So before we get started, I prefer to use Visual Studio Code for editing configuration files. This is entirely up to your own personal choice. You can use something called Notepad++ as well. I just personally prefer Visual Studio Code, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our project directory, go to project, go to source, and I already have one here, but we're going to recreate that real quick. Go down to new. You can be any of these, doesn't really matter. Excuse me, hit Control A, backspace all of that, and name it config.cpp and ignore that warning. So what that's just done is we've created a config.cpp file that we're going to be using to define certain information about our mod, such as the type, where our scripts are, which we don't need to worry about right now, as well as required add-ons. Let's go ahead and open that in Visual Studio Code. But again, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to open a new window since I have one in the background that I'm working on something else with. So we're going to bring that over here. So now we have our empty file. So don't worry if you have zero code experience. For retexturing, it's going to be super unintrusive and super unintensive. You can really just follow along and copy what I'm typing. And don't worry about what I'm saying. But for our config.cpp at the root directory, we're going to create a new class called CFG patches. So type it exactly the way I'm typing it. If you don't know anything about code, it does not matter. We're going to create a new class called project, which is the name of our directory right here. So name it whatever this is. Then we're going to make a new array called units, and we're going to set that equal to nothing since we don't have any units. We don't have any weapons either, so we're going to do the exact same thing for that one. Required version is this line is required. We can set that to 0.1 since we use external versioning. And required add-ons, this is where we actually need to focus on what we need to focus on. So if your mod is going to have both scripts as well as textures, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to type in quotes, DZ_data. And what do I mean by DZ_data? If we go to our P drive, you can see we have a DZ folder right here. And then there's a data folder right there as well. So that is a required part of our mod since we're going to be taking things from there. And if you're going to do any type of scripting, you're going to want DZ_scripts as well. So now we have that class done. We're going to create a new one called CFG mods. This is where we define certain information about our mod. Same thing as before. Don't forget your semicolons. Last project, same thing as before. Don't forget your semicolons. Directory is our root directory. It's going to be the same thing as this one right here. So for us, this is project. Then we have picture, which doesn't really matter. You don't need to put this, but if you plan to have a picture with your mod, you can. Same thing with action. If you don't have one, doesn't matter. We're going to set hide name to 1 for us, which means true. So we're going to hide the name and we're going to hide the picture since it doesn't matter for the purposes of testing. Name of the mod, my project. Credits, oops, sorry about that. Credits, we're going to set it to me. Then we can go check that out. We've got our author. Boom. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that we can do. It doesn't really matter. None of this stuff is actually required. DayZ will fill in the blanks for you if you forget it. The important part is that we do need type equals mod in quotes. That is really the only important part of that there. If you're doing scripting, follow along with what I'm going to do next. If you're not, you can skip ahead. But we're going to set some dependencies here. we're going to go, we need the game dependency for our game module. We need the world dependency for our world module, and the mission dependency for our mission module. These modules are set up under the DayZ scripts folder. These are all the scripts that DayZ uses. As you can see, we have the core module, game lib, game world, and mission. Pretty much all of the code that we're going to be doing is under game world and mission. So if you're going to be doing scripting, you might as well set this up right now. And it would help to spell dependencies right. Dependencies. There we go. Quite important. Again, we need to set up some more. So we're going to create a new inner class called defs. This is where we define where our modules are located. So we need a game script module. And in fact, yeah, there we go. We're going to go game script module. Same thing. Value equals quotes. And then our files are going to be under wherever you want your files to be. In our case, we're going to go under script. We're going to go under project source. We're going to create a new folder called scripts. And in here, we can go 3 game, since it's the 3rd module. New folder called 4 world, since it's the world module, number 4. And our 5th module is mission. So we're just setting this up beforehand since I'm already in here. So we're going to go files equals, and then in quotes, we're going to go project / source scripts 3 game. And then we're going to copy that because that will be useful in advance. Copy all of this. Then I think you know where this is going. We're going to have a world script module. And that, is there for 4 world. And then we have a mission script module with the exact same values, except it is the mission module. So again, we only need to set all this stuff up if we're working with with scripting. If all you're doing is textures, this isn't really required, but it is good practice to include that in your mod. So now we've got that done, we're going to go back into our project folder under source, and we can create a new folder. This is where all of our textures are going to be. In our case, for our project DayZRP, we name it clothes, and we have separate ones for gear and weapons. But in our case, we're only going to need clothes since we're just going to do a really basic t-shirt today. And so now we can actually extract the file from the game. So where do we find all of our DayZ files? All of our textures and all of our textures and models are found under the DayZ folder. This has all of the configurations and all of the models and textures for the game. For our t-shirts, we're going to go into the characters folder, which has all of the clothes that you can fit on a character. We're going to go to tops, since a t-shirt is a top. As you can see, we have a whole lot of P3D files. These are models, and models are, textures are mapped onto the models. We can find the textures under data. As you can see, we have RV mats, but in our case, we're going to be simply worrying about the PAA file since these are our actual textures. For more information on RV mats, I would suggest doing your own research, since for me, I am personally a scripter. I know how to do a retexture, but as far as editing the RV mats, I honestly have no clue. But if all you're doing is retexturing instead of making your own models and textures, I wouldn't really worry too much about the RV mats. So let's say we want to retexture a t-shirt, and we want to use maybe, let's say, the white one as a base. We can just search for t-shirt, and it'll pull up a list of t-shirts since I'm just lazy. This is actually taking too long for my laziness, so we're going to do it manually. Go down to t-shirt here. There it is. Let's use the white t-shirt. So let's scroll down for t-shirt white. Where are you? Where's our white t-shirt, eh? Am I blind? T-shirt pen, red, red. Ah, there we go. So how do we open this file? The way we find it is we go into our DayZ tools and we open text view. This is our texture viewer. And simply you can just drag and drop this. And looky there, we've got our white t-shirt. So let's go ahead and put this on the desktop. The way we do that is we go to File, Save As. Hit Desktop right there. And instead of PAA, we're going to save it as a .png. And you can open up your photo editor of choice. I prefer Photoshop. Give that a minute to open. Boom. Let's create a new folder, or excuse me, instead of creating, let's not create a new file. This is not a Photoshop tutorial. We are going to drag and drop that in there. So we've got our t-shirt here. Let's do a really simple retexture, nothing super fun. Let's make a funny t-shirt. So as you can see, this is the back of the t-shirt and this is the white, or this is the front, since you can see this coming down here. I am going to do something I've already planned on doing that I never actually added to the game. We're going to go like this. And let's take a here. Boom. That. New text. And we're going to do something like Lemon Bird. Let's do Lemon Bird. I love Lemon Bird. It's going to be that color. Whoa, not that color. Yes, there we go, that color. And we're going to call it My Pen. And we're going to make this a little bigger. Beautiful. And we're going to go is, but give that just a little, see, I think you know where I'm going here, but instead of like that, and then we're going to make this 130? 130 looks good. So we're making a t-shirt about this guy's pen. My pen is huge. Obviously talking about his very large pen. As you can see, it is a fairly large pen. You know what? Let's make it even bigger to really drive home the size of this pen and just how big it really is. So it's just a guy talking about his huge pen. Nothing really fancy there. I'm actually a very big fan of pens myself. So we're going to go ahead and name this t-shirt underscore white underscore pen, for example there. Go ahead and close out of Photoshop. I recommend saving your PSDs into a new folder called PSD. That's simply because I'm a forgetful bitch and will quite literally always lose my Photoshop documents. So we can close out a text view now that that's done. We still need to convert this new texture, this new photo into a texture, which is why in the last episode I had you send this to the desktop, since all we have to do is drag and drop that. And boom, there is our new t-shirt. Bring this into our mod, going into close. Boom, drag that right there. So now that that's done, we actually need to add this. We still need to add this to the game, and we do that by creating a new config.cpp. Same thing as last time, create a new file. Doesn't matter what you name it. Boom. And we are going to open this in Visual Studio Code. Drag that over there. And so we have our new configuration file. This one's going to differ slightly from our last one in that we need to do pretty much everything differently. This is a different configuration. So if you just need to follow along, go ahead and create a new class called CFG Patches. Don't forget your semicolon. Then we have class underscore close. Don't forget the underscore. That signifies that we're in a new directory called close. Same thing, don't forget your semicolon. And then just like the last configuration, we're going to create a new units like here. Then we go weapons, no weapons, required version, you know the drill, so 0.1. And then we're going to do something called Then we're going to do something called required add-ons. And for this one, we're using DayZ underscore data, just like the last time. And so that's done. Then we're creating a new class called CFG Vehicles. CFG Vehicles is a versatile class that allows us to, this is where pretty much everything in the game goes under. I don't know why they call it a vehicle. I think it's just because they're stupid. But, you know, that's just me. Doesn't really matter. The important part is we're going to declare a class called t-shirt underscore color base. Don't forget your spelling and your semicolon. This is the color base that all t-shirts are based off of. So our t-shirt uses the same model as the color base. It uses the same RV mat. It uses the same everything as the t-shirt color base. The only thing that we're changing is the texture. So how do we create a new t-shirt? We're going to declare a new t-shirt, and we're going to call it whatever we want. For me, I'm going to call it t-shirt underscore pen. Then we need to tell the game that this t-shirt, or this new class, because it doesn't know what a t-shirt is, we have to tell it, hey, this is a type of t-shirt. And we do that by putting a colon here and naming the base class. This is the base class right here. And as you can see, there's a hierarchy to everything. So if we do something like that, the t-shirt pen is a type of t-shirt color base, and the t-shirt color base is a type of clothing. So you can see how that kind of propagates upward. But that's not important. Now that we're in here, since we're creating a new texture but not a new model, we're going to change the scope to 2 since we're modifying an existing class. And now we actually set our texture by going to Hidden, Selections, Textures. Note the spelling there. And you can go into it like this, or like this if you're fucking plebeian. Doesn't really matter. The important part is we're going to put in some quotes here, and it's the exact location of our texture, which, as you recall, is source close t-shirt underscore white underscore pen dot PAA. So we can simply go like that. Call it project, since that's where we are on the P drive. If we go up here, we're in the P drive. Never use the common mistake is that we use my project. That fucks things up because it's going to be looking under the P drive. What we want to be, we're telling it something under the C drive. So make sure instead of saying my project like we have it on the C drive, use project on the P drive. So we're going to go project, source, close, t-shirt underscore pen, underscore white underscore pen dot PAA. Put a comma at the end of that. Then copy and paste that one more time, and then one more time, but remove the last comma. I don't exactly remember why we do it 3 times. I believe it's male texture, female texture, and ground texture. Obviously, these aren't going to have any difference, but they do in specific situations. I would do some more research on that. But if you're just looking to make basic retextures, don't worry about this at all. The end result is the exact same. So always finish off your lines with a semicolon like so. Double check our work to make sure we have everything correct. Now that that's done, we're going to go back into PBO project, and now it's time to look for errors. So the first thing we're going to do is go here, make sure our source folder is set correctly, which it's not. There we go. We're going to first not our source folder. We're gonna want to, or no, that's right. Yep, crunch that. Gonna have an error since we don't have any code yet, obviously. What we're gonna want to do is go to source folder, and instead of going here, we're gonna go to close, select that, and crunch it. No errors, little disquieting, but if there's no errors, it's usually a good sign, but it's sometimes an awful sign. Could mean you fucked something up super bad. Doesn't really matter though. We're going to go back into our P drive, go to project, build, and as you can see, we have a new close.pbo right there. Pretty sweet. So how do I actually turn this into a mod? The way we turn this into a mod is, to be honest, we're pretty much done. We have our mod here. Everything under here is set up in our mod, and our mod is called build. So I didn't actually show this in the game. We're going to launch DayZ. Oops, it's on the wrong side. Come on. There we go. We're going to launch DayZ, and we're going to go to parameters. Go to all parameters. I already have this set up, but we're going to want to enable our new mod. So under mods, we go to desktop, my project, and our new mod called build, and hit select folder. Now, in order to test offline, we use a very sophisticated piece of software called DayZ Community Offline Mode. The way we download this is by going to our first link here. It's under github.com. Hit download code, download it as a zip, and slap that onto the desktop. What this is it's an offline mission. If you don't know, in Arma and DayZ, when you play a game, you're actually playing a mission, is what they call it. And that just defines things like, where do we spawn? What kind of loot are we? What are the loot tables like? What spawns where? How much of what, and all that good stuff. But you can also include your very own custom code in these missions. So DayZ Community Offline Mode is a sophisticated mission that allows us to enter things like free cam, spawn objects, and put objects in our own missions. So go ahead and do what I did, extract the folder, get this file that ends with Chernars Plus, and then go back into DayZ, go down to mission, hit the 3 dots, go to the desktop, and select this folder. Now that we have that, we can hit play, and it'll load up. It'll load our new mod as we selected under the mods parameter. It's going to load our offline edition of the game in our mission folder. And once that launches, we'll be able to spawn our new t-shirt. Okay, now that we're loaded into the game, we have our default loadout, which is just a guy in a random model with a blue helmet. Doesn't really matter. You can get rid of all of this. Nobody cares. In order to access the tools for DayZ Community Offline Mode, press the Y key. As you can see, we have a new set of tools up here. The one that we're going to be focusing on right now is the object menu. You can see we have items and objects. Under the search bar, type in our new thing, which is t-shirt_pen. Click on it right there. We have a nice little preview. Go ahead and click ground to spawn that on the ground. Hit escape to exit the menu. And, oh, did I not spawn it? No, I did not. Try that again. T-shirt_pen. Spawn it on the ground. Click it a couple times to make sure. There we go. Drag it and switch it out. And boom, we have our new t-shirt ready to go. So if you ever want to make a change, or if you want to, like, let's say we wanted to move this off to the right, go ahead and close out of our game. You may need to click this 1,000 times to get it to close faster. Once that's done, you can make the changes, replace the file under close, replace that, then simply hit crunch again, and you've just committed your changes to a new mod. If you have any questions about this tutorial, my contact information will be in the description of the video, as well as a more in-depth guide for DayZ modding basics. If you run into any problems, I would suggest going over the links in the description for config.cpp setup, as well as creating a simple mod. And in the next episode, I'll be showing you how to create scripts. So I will see you in the next episode.